We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another For Liberty's Sake. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Eric Thompson out here in California on September 1st, 2021. Today, kind of the overarching theme is there's things that people try to do in the dark that eventually come to light. And we have a couple of those stories to start out with, but I do want to thank you for joining in. If you want to support our podcast, I have two main sponsors. First one is MyPillow. Mike Lindell over at MyPillow is fighting like crazy to try to look into the 2020 election fraud and other issues that are affecting our lives. He's got 2,500 employees in Minnesota, so he really needs your support as he's been kicked out of several retail stores because of his stands for liberty. I have the pillows, I have the mattress topper, I have the Giza sheets, I have the towels, I've got the Bible pillows for my grandson. Make sure you check out mypillow.com, and he's got over 100 items. You got 60-day money-back guarantee, and the sheets are on sale. You're going to love them. They're very soft sheets, Giza sheets. Check them out. Pillows, the pillows are trippy because you can keep moving the stuffing around at nighttime, and the pillow never goes flat, at least for me. So check out mypillow.com, and if you want to save up to 66%, use the promo code FLS for Liberty's Sake, FLS at checkout. Save up to 66% on some great items. Joe Biden is having, I think, the worst 8 months of any president in American history. And we don't know if it's intentional. I'm talking macro. I think he's doing some things intentionally. But we don't know if it's Joe is just very seldom aware. So then we really have to blame more on his wife and his administration and Obama that's coaching him and pushing him. And the Congress is like, we're going to try to get you the Green New Deal. We're going to try to get you election reform, and we're going to try to federalize everything, Joe, and you're just going to have to sign things when you're aware and try not to screw things up too bad when you do your speeches. So Joe is going home again for the 18th time since January. He's going to leave the White House, and he's going to go home. And we'll get to that here in a second. So Joe has been kind of sheltered and protected by everyone up on Capitol Hill on the left. But Joe had a phone call with the former Afghani president that if President Trump would have had, they would have impeached him 10 times for. So we'll go over that from Reuters. We're also getting information now that the military knew about the suicide bomber in a car heading towards the gate and would eventually kill Afghanis and 13 military personnel, and they didn't shoot the car with the drone. It was hidden. Nobody knew. And now the light is on it. The White House is all kinds of people that are, anonymity. I can't believe we left people behind. And everyone's just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. This is because Joe told the world. I had a article yesterday we covered on the podcast, 21 tweets and videos of Joe saying we would not leave any Americans behind. So he's a liar. We know he lies. But then the rest of the time, it's like, okay, Joe, you guys took over in January, and you had 8 months to make sure that you were ready, transitioned out, got all the civilians out first, did a good transition, a handoff over to the Afghani government, and kumbaya. But no, we went over it yesterday. After significantly screwing it up, leaving thousands of people behind, people getting shot, beaten, the military dogs and were left behind, not put on the airplane. The Department of Defense says no, we didn't do that, but there's photos and videos all over. So there's this heartless, just no empathy, the psychopathic coldness. Even one of the Gold Star mothers, when she met with Biden, made him look at the picture because he wanted to talk about his son, and he turned away, walked away from her. He said, my son's blood is on your hands, and he kind of just, I'm done with you, lady. So Joe is heading back to Delaware, and Christina Layla wrote this down in Gateway Pundit, that he's going to be spending this weekend in his basement in Delaware while Americans are stranded in Afghanistan. Remember when it was all falling apart, we couldn't find Joe because he was on vacation? Biden was vacationing in Camp David when Afghanistan fell to the Taliban, and now he's going to his basement bunker as Americans are stuck in Kabul as they ask for help. They're pleading for help. This will be Biden's 18th trip to Delaware since January. According to AP reporter Zeke Miller, he tweeted today that per the FAA, Biden will spend this weekend in Wilmington. Now, when he goes home, here's the thing. He won't release the visitor logs. He won't tell the world, as we're paying him, and he's our commander-in-chief and chief executive officer, he won't tell anybody who's calling, who's visiting. Why? Is it because Joe's sleeping and he's on meds and he's zoned out? Or is it because it's people like Barack Obama who's actually trying to keep him somewhat on task? And the task is to deconstruct America, to diminish our power in the world, which is one of the reasons why I believe they had to leave Afghanistan, because they want to try to cut their spending so they can try to justify their $3.5 trillion Green New Deal with amnesty that right now is not going to fund. So I think Biden's like, I don't care about the people. I don't care about anybody. We're leaving by August 31st. Yeah, but there's going to be people left behind. Generals? Yes. Joe Biden? Yes, President. Yes, Mr. President. Yeah, I want you to get us out of Afghanistan. If you don't do it, I'm going to get angry. Okay. Okay, I'll tell the troops for you, President Biden, because we don't want to get you upset because you're only aware right now for 10 minutes a day. So the generals, yeah, we have been coordinating with the president and giving advice, and we feel like that this was the best thing to do. So Joe comes out, yeah, the general said we have to leave, and so that's what I did. And I take responsibility, but it's your fault and Trump's fault, and it's everybody's fault. It's not my fault. And then he waddled away. He shuffled away like Mr. Magoo, and now he's going home. He's not going to tell anybody who's talking to him and who's visiting. Now Joe can go hide, but the thing about politics and the thing about these upper levels of government, especially, people like to talk. People like to, hey, in New York Times, I got an article, but you can't tell anybody but I got to tell somebody. So from Reuters, exclusive, this was from yesterday, Before Afghanistan collapsed, Biden pressed former President Ghani to change his perception. So put your memory cap on for a second. Remember, they took the Ukraine call, which didn't have anything wrong with it, except President Trump said, hey, there's concerns in both countries about the Biden's involvement with the fired prosecutor and the oligarch and this energy company. Could you get some info? Could you just verify the information? Thank you. And they tried to impeach him. If the Democrats would have controlled the Senate, they would have. Well, here's old Sleepy Joe. Reuters reports in the last call between U.S. President Joe Biden and his Afghanistan counterpart, before the Taliban seized control of the country, the leaders discussed military aid, political strategy, and messaging tactics, but neither Biden nor Ashraf Ghani appeared aware of or prepared for the immediate danger of the entire country falling to insurgents, a transcript reviewed by Reuters shows. Now, I don't believe this, by the way, because as we go through what he said, he knew that the Taliban, 10 to 15,000 terrorists, were like Lord of the Rings, were eating up territory and killing people, and they were like a flood just sweeping over the land. But they're reporting at Reuters that the men spoke for roughly 14 minutes on July 23rd, 23rd of July. About 3.5 weeks later, Ghani's gone. He took off with cash, some paintings and goodies, and he's out of there. Since then, tens of thousands of desperate Afghanistans have fled, and 13,000 U.S. troops and scores of Afghan citizens were killed in a suicide bombing at the Kabul airport during the frantic U.S. military evacuation. Why was it a frantic military evacuation? Can somebody help me with this, please? 8 months to get ready for it. How can you have a frantic evacuation? Because Joe needed to get out because they're trying to get $3.5 trillion stimulus bill or a spending bill pushed through. And Joe doesn't care. And Joe's going home to sleep again. Reuters reviewed a transcript of the presidential phone call and has listened to the audio to authenticate the conversation. The materials were provided on the condition of anonymity by a source who's not authorized to distribute it. In the call, Biden offered aid. Remember Trump, they said quid pro quo? In the call, Biden offered aid to Ghani if Ghani could publicly project, deceive people that things are going okay and he's got a plan when he didn't. But Biden, I will give you stuff, protection, air strikes, anything. If you can just change your attitude, if you could project that you actually had a plan, Ghani, just project you have a plan to control the spiraling situation in Afghanistan. Biden said, quote, "We will continue to provide close air support if we know what the plan is," unquote. Now, days before the call, the U.S. had carried out airstrikes to support the Afghan security forces, the move that the Taliban said was a violation of the Doha peace agreement. The U.S. president also advised Ghani to get a buy-in from powerful Afghans for a military strategy moving forward, and then to put a warrior in charge. A reference to Defense Minister General Bismillah Khan Mohammadi. Biden lauded the Afghan armed forces, which are trained and funded by the U.S. government. I've seen this number fact-checked. I think it was closer to 170,000, but Biden says this a lot. He said this to Ghani, quote, "You clearly have the best military. What's he talking about?" Unquote. He continued, "You have 300,000 well-armed forces versus 70 to 80,000, and they're clearly capable of fighting well." Unquote. But days later, the Afghan military started folding across provincial capitals in the country with little fight from the Taliban. In much of the call, Biden focused on what he called the Afghan government's perception problem. Quid pro quo. If you do this, I will do this. I need not tell you the perception around the world and parts of Afghanistan. This is Biden, I believe, is that things aren't going well in terms of the fight against the Taliban. Biden continued, and there's a need. This is a quote. And there is a need. Whether it is true or not, there is a need to project a different picture. Unquote. He continued that if Ghani could do that, if he could get Afghanistan's prominent political figures to do a press conference and back this new this tiger that's going to fight the Taliban, that would, quote, change perception, and that will change an awful lot, I think, unquote. Collapse happened 23 days later. White House has denied or declined to comment on the call. Ghani had told Biden that he believed there could be peace if he could rebalance the military solution, but then he added, we need to move with speed. Possibly could do this, and it has to be done fast. And I'll finish this story here. He said, quote, we're facing a full-scale invasion composed of the Taliban, full Pakistani planning and logistical support, and at least 10 to 15,000 international terrorists, predominantly Pakistanis, thrown into this, unquote. Ghani said the Afghani government officials and U.S. experts have consistently pointed to Pakistan's support for the Taliban as a key to the group's resurgence. Reuters tried to reach Ghani's staff to kind of verify this, the text and everything, but the thing is, he was gone. He was out of there. So do you think what I just said is that an impeachable offense to you? Is it okay for the president to ask a foreign leader to lie to the world so we can try to get our troops out? So it's self-serving for us. Would it be okay to lie to the world and then lie to your people and then knowing the reality, kind of like they both knew in reality that Afghanistan's going to be gone soon, and the president, Ghani's like, I'm going to have my suitcases packed, my money rounded up, and I am out of here. I think he is. I think it is impeachable. Dereliction of duty. He got military people killed. He got Afghanis killed. He just ruined people's lives by getting the former president of Afghanistan to lie to the world. But that's up to you. Thank you again for listening. I'll be back here in a few minutes. Go listen to our sponsors. Again, my name's Eric Thompson. Website is forlibertysake.com. I'll be right back.
Inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow. MyPillow.com.
And again, we get to MyPillow. Use our promo code FLS to save up to 66%. MyPillow.com, promo code FLS.
Name one time in history where the people who banned books, media, and opinions were the good guys. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm the world's youngest Bitcoin millionaire. I made it in Silicon Valley, and I've accomplished a lot in my life already. But now, I'm leaving big tech to fight for free speech. Because the big tech overlords are violating your privacy, censoring your speech, and I think that's so wrong. That's why I created the Freedom Phone and its uncensorable app store. Everyone is complaining about big tech censorship, but no one is doing anything about it. They say, build your own phone. So I did. Freedom Phone truly is the best phone in the world. It does everything your current phone does, except censor you and spy on you. With the Freedom Phone, your freedom of speech is our #1 priority. That's why we built our own app store that is completely uncensored. If an app you love has been banned from the mainstream app stores, you can still download it on ours because we don't ban apps, period. And we've developed the first operating system based on your free speech. There's no app tracking, no keyboard tracking, and no location tracking because I believe in your security. How do we ensure you're being protected? Say hello to Trust. Trust is our privacy guard. It's designed to warn you whenever an app or a website is tracking you and gives you the option to stop it. Your data, your rules. That's our motto. The Freedom Phone is comparable to the best smartphones on the market. It has an edge-to-edge screen, a super fast processor, and multiple cameras. And your SIM card transfers into the Freedom Phone seamlessly. Big tech companies hold a monopoly on public communication and the dissemination of information, and they are abusing that power. Nobody elected Mark or Jack to be the arbiters of truth in America, yet they still thought it was okay to ban a sitting president from their platforms. If they censor a president, they will censor anyone. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg censored MLK or Abraham Lincoln. The course of history would have been altered forever. Out of all the constitutional amendments, there's a reason why the Founding Fathers made the right to free speech the very first. I believe you have a voice that deserves to be heard without being censored. Protect yourself from big tech censorship. Let your voice be heard. Live free with the Freedom Phone.
Again, thank you so much for staying with me. Our promo code over there at freedomphone.com. Freedomphone.com. It's just like your iPhone or your Android, except they have their own operating system that is not Silicon Valley, the Freedom iOS, so they're not going to track your phone, and they're not going to track your text and all that stuff and keep track of you. So check out freedomphone.com. Use the promo code SAVE to save up to $50. Freedomphone.com. SAVE is the promo code. Thank you, Freedom Phone, for joining in with us here. Okay. So we just went over Joe. Joe's going home. And again, Joe had a phone call, which I really believe in my heart. Both him and the former president of Afghanistan knew that things were not going to work out, and that they had to give the impression, and Biden needed, for his side of the deception, hey, you got to change this. Just change the way you act and act like you actually have a plan for me, please. And if you do that, I will do this for you. But I will not do this for you unless you do this for me. Well, another story has emerged. And this one is, it's mind-boggling, because the end result of what I'm about to tell you is that Biden's Department of Defense, they actually had a drone tracking the suicide bomber that eventually got to the Kabul airport because he wasn't blown up because of a stand-down order, and then he blew himself up, killing 13 service members of the United States, 1 Army, 1 Navy, and 11 Marines, and countless number of Afghanis. So the question is, why? Why do you think we didn't kill a suicide bomber that we knew was headed towards the airport to try to blow himself up? There's several articles out there. I've got one from MRC Newsbusters. You can check it out. You can also check out townhall.com. Town Hall says, wait, Biden knew about the Kabul terror attack and did nothing. This is from Matt Vespa. Yes, you heard that right. Biden knew about the Kabul terror attack, did nothing. His article starts, everything is a mess right now. Our exit from Afghanistan was a mess. We left Americans behind. We left key Afghani allies behind. We even left our service dogs behind. The 20-year war is over. It's a humiliating exit. Taliban is back in control, and we've trusted them to handle security around the airport. It's all a fiasco. But here's a problem. Nick Arma at Red State wrote, it seems we knew about the bombing that blew up the service members ahead of time. Not only that, but that we could have actually taken out the suicide bomber, but Biden choked. And this is via Red State. So, Red State bombshell. U.S. knew about it, had drone lock, but he didn't take the shot. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Roger Parda Marura, dropped some incredible information during an interview. Director of MRC Latino, George Manila, posted an interview of Pardo Marurer, M-A-U-R-E-R, who was in the State Department for years, since at least 2001, and he was being told that the Department of Defense already knew who the bomber was ahead of time before the bombing, and was the Kabul attack, and when the Kabul attack would occur. And here it is. Listen to this, and then we're going to try to figure out why didn't we stop it then.
Está diciendo de gente que participó es que el Departamento de Defensa
Spanish. Okay, here we go.
ya sabía quién iba a poner la bomba y cuándo. Okay.
What is being said by the people who were involved is that the Department of Defense already knew who the bomber was.
Ya sabía quién iba a poner la bomba y cuándo,
and when the Kabul airport would take place, and that a Predator drone had a lock on it.
Un Predator, okay. Y que se
and that they refused to grant permission to fire upon that bomber.
Para matar al que iba a poner esa bomba. Lo pidieron y se
Permission
negó.
was requested and denied.
¿Por qué?
Why? Because
Porque
we're in the process of negotiating with the Taliban.
Con los talibanes, que ellos mismos
we're not even in control of their own government or their own
gobierno,
people, who are not even in control. Okay, I knew it was going to be in Spanish, but basically what he's saying is, and I'll go through this again. Former Deputy Secretary claims that the Predator drone operator ordered to stand down against Kabul airport bomber. This is from George Benila over on MRC. Univision aired a bombshell allegation in the midst of its coverage of the United States' disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Per former Army Green Beret and Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Roger Pardo, M-A-U-R-E-R, the Department of Defense had knowledge of the homicide bomber at Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. So they scrambled a Predator drone only to have the order to stand down as it locked in on the target. The stand-down order was given in deference to negotiations with the Taliban. There's your reason. The reason why we have 13 dead service members, countless civilians, Americans that were left behind, beaten, some killed, children taken away in child marriages, women raped, etc. And if the stand down order hadn't have happened, things would have been a lot different. How do we know this report is likely true according to Red State? Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby refused to talk about it and rallied against leaking intelligence. Pardo went further in the interview. He said not only did they know where and when it could happen, but they also had a dreaded or prone locked in on it. But that they refused to grant permission to take the guy out. Permission was granted and was denied. Okay, we just went over that. Who is he really saying said no? Who do you guys think? I think it was either Joe, if Joe was coherent, or it was one of his television generals. Okay, generals, we are going to leave, and we're going to keep negotiating with the Taliban, and you're not going to do anything we're not going to do anything that's going to stop this from happening. But you can find this over on Town Hall. You can find it over on newsbusters.org. That what people who are in the know, former Army Green Beret and Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, knows that the Department of Defense had knowledge that, hey, suicide bombers headed over to the airport. We know when he's going to blow himself up. And we actually know what car he's in. And we got a drone on him. So if we could just get permission, we could stop it. Stand down. What does that remind you of? You know what it reminds me of? Benghazi. Remember when the Navy SEALs were over in the other complex and they find out that the embassy is getting attacked and they're like, we're going over. And they said, stand down, stand down, stand down. You're not going to help. You're not going to help. You're not going to help. They went anyway. The ambassador was already killed and everything else. But they were told to not go help Americans. Here, if it was Biden or a general or somebody else at the Department of Defense, hey, we've got a suicide bomber that's going to go blow up some of our troops. Stand down. Do you see the theme here? It was all about getting out, and that's all that mattered. Who died? Who was injured? Who was lied to? Who felt betrayed? The fact that the world would lose credibility, that we would lose credibility with the world, that our allies would no longer trust us, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter then, and it doesn't matter now to Joe as he goes home to take his naps. Can you imagine if you were a parent of or the husband or wife of one of the military personnel that got killed because someone in our government did not stop the suicide bomber? That even though Joe said 21 times, we will not leave any Americans behind, we will stay till they're gone. So lying. Joe walks away from the Gold Star mother. She's saying, you're not listening to me. You killed my son. Take some responsibility. I'm out of here. I'm walking away from you. That's a dangerous thing about having Joe Biden sitting in this position of chief executive officer, commander-in-chief, because he has almost unlimited power. But like I said yesterday, I think he's a psychopath. You can listen to it or look up the definition of it. Lack of apathy, hot-tempered, cold, makes errors in judgment. And I'm not making that. I'm not trying to be funny or trying to just be disparaging of him. I just think the guy ran with KKK members when James Byrd was alive, from West Virginia, KKK wizard. He's the one that wanted to stop busing of black American students over to white neighborhoods because they said it would create a jungle effect. He ended up marrying his former babysitter for his sons. Lady saying he groped her up in the White House, up in the Capitol Hill. On and on and on. Children, little girl pinching her. So that is the, I think, that mindset of not caring, of selfishness, of distance, of wanting things just to go away like Hillary did with Benghazi. What difference does it make? Hey, what do you mean about my servers getting wiped clean? Did I take a cloth to them? Think about what these people have gotten away with. The people in power, what they've gotten away with. Hillary's illegal email servers. Hillary's dealings with, I think, gun running or whatever out of Benghazi. The lying, the deceiving. Remember, they sent out Susan Rice to lie about it was a spontaneous uprising because of some YouTube video that nobody ever saw about Islam. Then you have Peter Strzok, you have Haufer, you have Comey and all of Mueller's team, Brennan, Clapper, they all lied. The Russia hoax was a lie. Nobody got in trouble. 2 impeachments, lie. No one's held accountable. And Joe's doing phone calls. Hey, quid pro quo. You lie to the world for me. You tell them things are going to be okay. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of air power, wink, wink, through the phone because I know there's already some other communications. That's my opinion. And, okay, we're going to need you to change how you're presenting things to the world. Okay, thank you. And then, okay, I can do that, but I'm going to have to remove around some things really fast because there's 10,000 to 15,000 terrorists headed my way. And short time after that, he's flying out with all of the money and the goodies, and the cars are gone. And the Afghani people are like, why is the United States leaving, and why do they only have a few troops coming back now to try to get people out of the airport because they gave up the big airport? What's going on? And that's like, and we have articles here. White House officials. It's from Fox News. White House official appalled and literally horrified that Joe Biden stranded Americans in Afghanistan. And I'm sure this isn't the only one. But not everybody's willing to come out and say anything. So we get back, we're going to go over this real quick, and then we're going to go over Texas became the first state to outlaw abortion. Yes, you heard that right. Supreme Court did not intervene in the emergency request. And 2 top FDA officials who got pushed through all of these vaccines, they're leaving. One's retiring, one's going away. Why? We'll try to tackle that too. Thank you again. I'll be right back.
I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Again, when you go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code FLS to save up to 66%. MyPillow.com, promo code FLS.
Name one time in history where the people who banned books, media, and opinions were the good guys. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm the world's youngest Bitcoin millionaire. I made it in Silicon Valley, and I've accomplished a lot in my life already. But now, I'm leaving big tech to fight for free speech. Because the big tech overlords are violating your privacy, censoring your speech, and I think that's so wrong. That's why I created the Freedom Phone and its uncensorable app store. Everyone is complaining about big tech censorship, but no one is doing anything about it. They say, build your own phone. So I did. Freedom Phone truly is the best phone in the world. It does everything your current phone does, except censor you and spy on you. With the Freedom Phone, your freedom of speech is our #1 priority. That's why we built our own app store that is completely uncensored. If an app you love has been banned from the mainstream app stores, you can still download it on ours, because we don't ban apps, period. And we've developed the first operating system based on your free speech. There's no app tracking, no keyboard tracking, and no location tracking, because I believe in your security. How do we ensure you're being protected? Say hello to Trust. Trust is our privacy guard. It's designed to warn you whenever an app or a website is tracking you and gives you the option to stop it. Your data, your rules. That's our motto. The Freedom Phone is comparable to the best smartphones on the market. It has an edge-to-edge screen, a super fast processor, and multiple cameras. And your SIM card transfers into the Freedom Phone seamlessly. Big tech companies hold a monopoly on public communication and the dissemination of information, and they are abusing that power. Nobody elected Mark or Jack to be the arbiters of truth in America, yet they still thought it was okay to ban a sitting president from their platforms. If they censor a president, they will censor anyone. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg censored MLK or Abraham Lincoln. The course of history would have been altered forever. Out of all the constitutional amendments, there's a reason why the Founding Fathers made the right to free speech the very first. I believe you have a voice that deserves to be heard without being censored. Protect yourself from big tech censorship. Let your voice be heard. Live free with the Freedom Phone.
And make sure you use the promo code SAVE at checkout, freedomphone.com, promo code SAVE. All right, thank you for staying with me. Again, this is for liberty's sake. If you want to check out my social media platforms, I own magabook.com, magabook.com, and twellet.com. Magabook.com, twellet.com, or if you're on Twitter, you can look up ET Talk Show, just look for Eric Thompson or for liberty's sake. All right, so let's keep on marching on here. It's not a lot of good news, but there's a lot of things that are coming out now that are going to have to be dealt with over time, and I think that's the whole point to this. Another article here, I'm going to just read it to you. Biden leaves behind U.S.-sponsored journalist that he had promised to evacuate from Afghanistan. Hey, guys, come over and report this for us, and I'll take you home. Not happening. It's Fox News. You can check that out. Also, there is people in the White House that just aren't happy with the way things have been going. In a political article, it was Joe, he gave his speech, right? And halfway down it says, Joe's administration has spent weeks hawking polls showing voter support for his policy goal, confident that the Beltway reactions to a decision was just the latest insistence of its disconnect from regular voters. Quote, I give you my word with all my heart. I believe that this is the right decision, the wise decision, and the best decision for America, unquote, Biden said. But not everyone in the administration shared the commander-in-chief's confidence. Quote, I am absolutely appalled and literally horrified we left Americans there, unquote. One administration official told Politico, quote, it was a hostage rescue of thousands of Americans in the guise of a non-combatant evacuation operations. That's what an NEO is, a NEO, non-combatant evacuation operations. And we failed that no-fail mission, unquote. In other words, this is actually a hostage rescue. in a non-combatant, right? So we went in, we weren't going to fight anybody, weren't going to shoot anybody. We were just trying to, if possible, evacuate as many people and many hostages as we could, since the Taliban had taken over the country. The American citizens and the Taliban nationals that we had agreed to take with us, since they helped us during the 20 years that we were there. And this administrator said, we failed that no-fail mission. Another White House official said the mission is not accomplished if they left Americans behind. So just because we see Psaki and we see the TV generals saying how great things are going, there's always some real human beings behind the scenes saying, what a disaster. From Life News, this is a big paradigm shift, okay? So that's what's going on. Biden's sleeping. We know that Biden did the quid pro quo call, and there's some people calling for his impeachment, and I don't think that call went well at all. I think it was wrong. And then we know that that they could have taken out the suicide bomber, but somebody could have been Biden down, but somebody was given a directive to not do anything because the Biden administration was negotiating with the Taliban. So don't do anything that's going to freak people out and stop that. 13 dead American service people and countless numbers of other human beings are dead or maimed because of that. Okay, this is a big story. I want to go quickly with you on this one. From lifenews.com. Texas has become the first state in America to ban abortions. Did you know this? This is from Micaiah Bilger, and it's on Breitbart and all over the place. You can find it. Texas has become the first state in America to ban abortions. Twitter is going nuts. The pro-abortion radicals that want babies to be killed all over the place, anytime, anywhere, any state, any point during the pregnancy. It says Texas just became the first state in nearly 50 years to be allowed to protect unborn babies by banning almost all abortions. On Wednesday, the state heartbeat law went into effect, prohibiting abortions once an unborn baby's heartbeat is detectable about 6 weeks into pregnancy. The legislation has potential to save tens of thousands of babies living in Texas, including about 100 every day. Of course, Planned Parenthood and the ACLU they appealed to the Supreme Court. This was the big thing I wanted to go over with you. The Supreme Court had the opportunity to put a stay on this because the federal courts below said it was constitutional. The Supreme Court denied to take it. So Samuel Alito, who's in charge of emergency petitions from Texas, a pro-life constitutionalist, they should have thought that through when they tried to go through Texas, because Supreme Court justices are assigned states that there's one justice over a certain number of states that are giving these emergency appeals. If they decide that the court should take a look at it, then they can put a stay, and then they can present it to the other justices to get a bigger, more final decision. But Samuel Alito said, yeah, you know what? Roe v. Wade was first trimester, and we're not even going to touch this. And it also has to do with the way that the bill was written. Senator Brian Hughes, a Republican who sponsored the bill, described it as the most powerful pro-life legislation in Texas history. The law's potential of saving tens of thousands of babies from abortion. In 2020, 54,000 unborn babies were born in Texas. 85% of them could have been saved. And the way that what makes it different is there's no criminal penalties for the mom, but allows the state to say you can't do it, and allows the doctors and clinics or any hospital that actually does the procedure to be sued out of business and shut down by private citizens from anywhere in the country. The appeal is just I'm ecstatic, but I'm actually surprised. So I just want you to know that. So Texas right now, once the baby's heart can be detected, it is no longer legal to have an abortion of that baby in the state of Texas. Last thing here, talking about with Biden and everything, okay? The good news about Texas, but now I'm gonna back to this COVID situation. And because of all the censorship and everything else, let's just keep this real. It's very straightforward. From Breitbart, two top FDA officials in charge of the coronavirus vaccines are leaving. What just happened? We just got the approval to now poke children down to 12 and for the booster shot. This is from Joshua Kaplan, a pair of top Food and Drug Administration officials from the FDA, the ones that are overseeing the review of the COVID-19 vaccine applications, are going to be departing the agency this coming fall, according to a Tuesday report. Marian Gruber, head of the Regulator's Office of Vaccines Research and Review, plans to retire October 31st. And Philip Cross, the department director of the FDA Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, he's going to be leaving the following month, according to an email to staff that was viewed by Bloomberg. U.S. health officials have been working to evaluate COVID vaccines and treatments at top speed. The vaccines were and the booster was supposed to run into 2023 for clinical testing, but they did this emergency use authorization, so they went ahead and started poking people anyway. Now they rushed to get it fully approved instead of 23, so they could poke the children, and companies could say, if you don't take the shot, you're fired, and they could really put the screws to people. But two of the people in the FDA that were responsible for getting the vaccines to those states, one's retiring now, and one's going to be leaving. Because U.S. health officials have been working to evaluate COVID vaccines and treatments at top speed with shots from Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and the partnership of Pfizer and Biotech SE cleared in record time. Now, the agency is charged with considering the administration's booster program, which is set to roll out on September 20th. Quote, we are confident in the expertise and ability of our staff to continue our critical public health work, including evaluating COVID-19 vaccines, unquote. Stephanie Kokumo, a spokesperson for the FDA, told the news outlet. The report comes after President Biden revealed that federal health officials are now considering guidelines for coronavirus booster shots just 5 months now. So remember, everyone's getting pressured to take the shot. But then in just 5 months, you got to go get another shot because the shots you're getting aren't going to do anything for very long, if anything at all. We're considering the advice. We're considering the advice you've given that we should start earlier, Biden stated at an Oval Office meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett Friday. So the report comes after Biden reveals that the federal health officials are now considering guidelines for coronavirus booster shots just 5 months after they received complete immunizations. And then Biden told the Israeli Prime Minister, we're considering the advice that you've given us that we should actually start earlier. Should it be as little as 5 months? That's being discussed. From the Wall Street Journal, data from vaccine manufacturers in other countries under review by the Food and Drug Administration is based on boosters been given at 6 months, the person said. The person said approval for boosters for all 3 COVID-19 shots being administered in the U.S., those manufactured by Pfizer and partner Biotech SE, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, expected in mid-September. Earlier this month, the FDA fully approved Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine, making it the first shot to receive the agency's full approval outside the emergency use authorization. I get a little skeptical when two of the main people that were responsible for getting this booster shot and all this finalization of the vaccine pushed through, as soon as it's done and the dust is still in the air, they're out of there. Okay. Look over here. It's coming. Oh, by the way, I'm leaving. I'm retiring. And I'm going to leave. I'm going to a different department. I'm out of here. Because I don't want to be around. If we could talk to him, why are you doing that? Well, I don't want to be around when these start to go in case something goes wrong with the booster shot. And Fauci, Biden, the administration, CDC, corporations, if you don't take a shot, then you are an anti-vaxxer and you want to kill people. No, I'm kind of looking at you push through because of the emergency use. You push through these vaccines without going through the full trials. Just because it's an emergency provision, just because you use that emergency use authorization doesn't mean all of a sudden that it's safer. Because there's an emergency doesn't mean it's safer. This means that you're able to give it without being sued. So America sees how this rolled out. We see that record numbers of people that have been fully vaccinated are getting COVID. And now they finalize, which was supposed to be in 23. Oh, it's fully approved now. You can poke children and companies can fire people. My friend's wife has to quit her job on the 15th because she's not going to take the shot. So she works for a large hospital, so she's going to have to quit or be fired. So some big news on that. You can find it on Breitbart. Top 2 FDA officials in charge of coronavirus vaccines are going to leave the agency. And for Christians out there, it's a good story from the Christian Post. LA County out here in California is going to pay $800,000 to settle with the settlement with John MacArthur's church over COVID lockdown numbers. It happens to be my church. LA County tried everything possible, fining, taking away a county piece of property where some of the church members would park. And they kept trying to get them to not allow people to come to church. But Jenna Ellis was President Trump's one of his attorneys working with the Thomas More Society, jumped in, and they kept saying it's a First Amendment issue. First Amendment issue. There is no one dying in the church. People have natural herd immunity because a lot of people got sick in December, January of 19 and 20. So no one's dying, and the First Amendment says that the right to worship, to practice religion shall not be prevented. Congress and the government cannot prevent you from worshiping, exercise of religion. Of course, liberal courts have said, well, except for COVID, and we should allow that temporarily. Well, the attorneys and a reasonable judge in LA County over and over again, they had one court date after another, after another, after another. In the end, the county had to pay all $800,000 of the church's legal fees. It didn't go to the church. It was for the legal fees. So you can find it on the ChristianPost.com. California, LA County to pay $800,000 in settlement with John MacArthur's church over COVID lockdown numbers. That's how you roll. You just challenge the evil. You don't run from the evil. So I want to thank you for listening. Again, this has been For Liberty's Sake. I'm here doing this to make sure you know what's going on, issues that can affect your liberty, short-term and long-term. If you want to get a hold of me, go over to email me at eric@forlibertysake.com. You can also go to my social media platforms, magabook.com and twellet.com. And you can support our sponsors by going to mypillow.com. Use the promo code FLS, mypillow.com. Support Mike Lindell. He needs some support right now. FLS, 66% off on several deals. And also go to freedomphone.com. Use the promo code SAVE. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.